What it do, family? Let's talk about this Vote Blue No Matter Who rally that was featuring the funeral of Tyre Nichols. I'm so sick and tired of seeing black people being murdered by these race soldiers. And then those family members allowed these politicians and bureaucrats to come out of nowhere and use their dead their family member that was slaughtered at the hands of these oppressors. They allow them to come in and use their children's death or their family members' deaths as prop stands for their political career or their political campaign or their next campaign. I finally sat down and actually watched the funeral of Tyre Nichols, or what I call the Vote Blue No Matter Who rally that was featuring the funeral of Tyre Nichols. And it just made me sick to my stomach to see the amount of political masturbation going on in that room. The amount of people that was in the room who was supposed to be friends and family that allowed this to go on. And I'm not even going to go that deep into this topic because many people have already. I just wanted to address a few things that I saw. So I'm going to play a few clips. First clip I'm going to play is Kamala Harris. And I'm going to address some things that she said.
Reverend Sharpton, I want to thank you for all you do for so many. There are so many families here who have been personally touched by your leadership and your strength and your fellowship. Reverend Dr. Lawrence Turner, thank you for welcoming us. Keisha Lance Bottom, Mitch Landrieu. We are here on behalf of the people of our country and our President, Joe Biden.
Notice who she didn't mention first. You know, the family, the mother, the father. First thing she does is go and mentions Al Sharpton and everybody else who's DNC in the building. If you didn't notice that, take notice.
And we are here to celebrate the life of Tyre Nichols. Mrs. Wells, Mr. Wells, you have been extraordinary in terms of your strength, your courage, and your grace. And we mourn with you, and the people of our country mourn with you. And I I'm going to be very brief. Mothers around the world, when their babies are born, pray to God when they hold that child that that body and that life will be safe for the rest of his life. Yet we have a mother and a father who mourn the life of a young man who should be here today. They have a grandson who now does not have a father. His brothers and sister will lose the love of growing old with their baby brother. And when we look at this situation, this is a family that lost their son and their brother through an act of violence at the hands and the feet of people who had been charged with keeping them safe. And when I think about the courage and the strength of this family, I think it demands that we speak truth. And with this, I will say, this violent act was not in pursuit of public safety. It was not in the interest of keeping the public safe, because one must ask, was not it in the interest of keeping the public safe that Tyre Nichols would be with us here today? Was he not also entitled to the right to be safe? So when we talk about public safety, let us understand what it means in its truest form. Tyre Nichols should have been safe. So I'll just close by saying this. I was, as a senator, as a United States Senator, a co-author of the original George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And as Vice President of the United States, we demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it. And we should not delay, and we will not be denied. It is non-negotiable. And with that, I'll just, Pastor, if you don't mind, one of my favorite verses in Scripture is Luke chapter 1, verse 79, which tells us God will help us to shine a light upon those who sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet in the way of peace. Let our memory of Tyre shine a light on the path toward peace and justice. Thank you.
The sheer fact that nobody stood up and told this broad to shut the hell up is a pure problem. It's a pure problem. Because while she was running around talking about safe this and safe that, not talking about nothing she said in her speech had any type of relevance whatsoever when it comes to keeping him safe. What did you do, Kamala, to keep him safe? What did the DNC do to keep him safe? Because really, that's what y'all job is, right? In order to keep us safe, you're supposed to be passing bills. You're supposed to be making sure that there is certain reform going on. But no, Kamala Harris didn't do any of that. That's why she said she wasn't going to stay up there too long, because one, she didn't have nothing to say. And then two, her record stands for itself. Her record speaks for itself. Her record will show you that she has empowered a lot of these officers, especially in my home state of California, to do much of the dumbest shit that you wouldn't even imagine. Kamala Harris was the person locking mothers up when their children wasn't going to school, whether it was for a medical condition or not. It was Kamala Harris keeping people in jail who were supposed to be released. It was Kamala Harris who was fighting people's releases so that she can send them into those wildfires in the mountains of California to fight those fires for $1 a day. This is who Kamala Harris is. This is who Kamala Harris is, and this is who a lot of these so-called black representatives within the political sector are. So these people allow these people to come up into their church and spew this nonsense. But they don't ask them, well, what are you going to do to fix this? What are you going to do to fix this? And don't just take no bullshit for an answer. Because she brought up that George Floyd bill. That bill is nothing but a general policing bill. Period. They tossed George Floyd's name on it. And now they're going to throw another sector in there for Tyre. Okay. First and foremost, why didn't y'all pass that in the first 2 years that you guys had control of the House and the Senate? This is my point. All this stuff is nonsense. And then they go to these people and then they make this big skeptical about, we're going to take this. This is non-negotiable. And Joe Biden, he will sign it. First and foremost, the Senate and the House is no longer controlled by the Democrats. So how in the hell are you going to force that through? This is the nonsense that people are believing because they might not know her record. All they see her as is the so-called black vice president. But the truth of the matter is, it gets worse than this. It gets worse than this. And the next clip I'm going to play is of the hypocrite and the scumbag, so-called Reverend Al Sharpton.
We're not asking for nothing special. We're asking to be treated equal and to be treated fair. And just like they marched and boycotted and went to jail for 9 years from the 55 Montgomery bus boycott to the 64 Civil Rights Act, we're going to pay the same dues to get this George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.
Did you all catch that? If you didn't catch that, don't worry. I'm going to run it back for you real quick. Watch.
We're not asking for nothing special. We're asking to be treated equal and to be treated fair. And just like they marched and boycotted and went to jail for 9 years from the 55 Montgomery bus boycott to the 64 Civil Rights Act, we're going to pay the same dues to get this George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.
So what did Al Sharpton just say to us? He basically just laid out the 10-year plan for the DNC in the black community. That's exactly what he did. Just like we marched 9 years, the Montgomery boycott, this, that, and the third. How long has this been going on? How long has this been going on? And this is my point. He literally just told everyone that for the next 9 to 10 years, the black issue is going to be the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Oh, yeah, he did.
Just like they marched and boycotted and went to jail for 9 years from the 55 Montgomery bus boycott to the 64 Civil Rights Act, we're going to pay the same dues to get this George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.
Next year, in 2024, will mark 6 decades since the Civil Rights Bill has been passed. What has changed in our community? What has changed in our community? Under the leadership of people like this, what has changed in our community within the 6 decades? And he's trying to tell you we're going to need another decade to get a police reform bill passed. This is my point. Never mind reparations. What's owed to us has been owed to us. We got studies coming out saying that if we do not receive reparations by 2050, that the black community will be at a zero when it comes to the income. So I don't even understand why this is even a conversation. I don't even understand why this man is even relevant in the circles that he's relevant in. In the past 6 decades, the leadership that we've had has done absolutely nothing for us. Nothing.
Reverend, how long? I don't know how long. They didn't know how long it would be when they boycotted in the 50s. It's not about a timetable. It's that we cannot continue to live under these double standards and under these conditions. We don't care how long, but I can tell you one thing, those of you that keep voting against that bill, we going to vote against you. We got more numbers than the police union.
This made me angry too. Like, it makes me very upset to even hear people clapping at this man's psychobabble. Oh, those who keep voting against this, we're going to vote against you because we got more numbers than the you. What have you guys done in your time working in politics to change any of this stuff? Nothing. Nothing. And the most egregious thing that this man did here was bring up King. Bring up King. And then try to speak down on the cops who killed Tyre, all while negating to even see the irony in the situation, because all the things that he's saying could apply to every single so-called black representative within our political system.
There are thousands here, they didn't come to see me. Dr. King got in the car by himself and rode over to Mason Temple, and he started speaking that night, and something came over him. He said that I don't fear any man. He said, God has allowed me to go to the mountaintop, and I've seen the promised land. And that's the last speech he gave right here in Memphis when he went to the mountaintop. I believe when he looked over, he could see a Barack Obama become president. I believe when he went to the mountaintop, he could look over and see a Kamala Harris sitting as vice president. I believe when he looked over from the mountaintop, he saw black police chiefs. He didn't expect you to disgrace him. He expected you to bring us on to the promised land.
Let's get this straight right now. If King did see an Obama in the White House, what he didn't see was Obama refusing to pay the descendants of American slaves that check that MLK himself said that we were coming to get. If he did see an Obama in the White House, he didn't see that Obama signing a Blue Lives Matter ordinance into effect. If he did see an Obama in the White House, he didn't see an Obama who's passing 24 gay laws and LGBTQ laws, but can't pass not one thing to protect the black Americans of this country. I guarantee you that MLK didn't see that. If he did look into the White House and see a Kamala Harris, he didn't see a cop Kamala Harris in the White House. He didn't see a woman who locked up black women because their children were sick and couldn't go to school. He didn't see a woman that was keeping black men unjustly locked up in order to fight fires because it's cheaper than having a fire department. He didn't see a Kamala Harris type of person in the White House pretending to have our lineage and do not. How dare you? How dare you, you little body, big head bastard? And most of all, what he didn't do is pave the way for all of you freaking coons to get into political positions only to turn your back on your people. To sit here and say, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know. They didn't know how long it was going to take. What he's really telling everybody is that I don't care how long this is going to take as long as I'm not here to deal with it. It's all a prolonged situation. It's all a prolonged situation. I'm only here to prolong so that nothing can happen, so that nothing can come about this, so that I can keep you docile. This is the stupid shit that just came out of Al Sharpton's mouth.
That's why I'm still marching. Yes, I got books out. Yes, I got a TV show, but I'm a mountain climber. I'm not going to stop till I get to the top of the mountain. You can call me names on right-wing television. I'm a mountain climber. I expect stumbles to come my way. I'm a mountain climber. You can disgrace me, you can discredit me, but I'm going to keep on climbing. I'm going to climb until Tyre Nichols gets justice. I'm going to climb until Eric Gardner gets justice. I'm going to climb until we change the laws. We're mountain climbers. We're not day traders. We're mountain climbers. And if God be for us, it's more than the whole world against us. He walks with me. He talks with me. He tells me that I'm his own. He's been food when I was hungry, water when I was thirsty. He's my rock. He's my rock. He's my rock. My sword and shield. My wheel in the middle of the wheel. Yes. Yes.
Lastly, I'm going to end with this. This is directly to Sharpton. If you're such a mountain climber, climb your ass up that mountain that King was walking up. That King was climbing up. That King was gliding up. He said, we're coming to get that check. So if you are a mountain climber, what you should be doing is following in the steps of the mountain climber himself. You should be out there fighting for the same damn things that the mountain climber who you claim to have been following actually took. I don't want to hear a damn thing about a man being a mountain climber when we still living under systemic oppression and you're there helping them. You're one of the mouthpieces for the systemic oppression. You got to show in order to literally pass out the mindset of the white supremacists and the white supremacist system. So Al, I don't want to hear nothing out of your mouth. I don't want to hear nothing out of you ever again, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, you have betrayed your people so much, and people like you have betrayed your people so much, and the people around you have betrayed our people so much, that I know for certain King would be turning in his grave if he's not already. And with that said, much love to everybody that heard this message. Like, share, subscribe, pass this message along. People like this should not be allowed to speak, especially when our loved ones have been murdered in the middle of the street by these race soldiers. We got to start being smart. Because all you doing is showing others how dumb we are. The doors of the church are closed.